Welcome to Edify Today Devotional with Abel Bernard.
Hello, good morning. How are you doing today? It's Wednesday. You're welcome. Thank God for making us in another new day. And it's Edify Wednesday, and I want to share something very profound with you. I'll call it a reality check. As we get so busy with our lives, we may forget something called reality. Reality is the only tea that sounds or tastes bitter to the tongue, because many of us would ignore reality and just want to live in a fantasy or live in the moment and forget what reality means. Let me bring something to your mind today. As you go about your work, as you go about your plans and achievements you've done and the ones you plan to achieve, there's someday that would cease to exist on this earth. In every burial ceremony you've attended, if you've attended any, the next person that would die would be there. No one is living this earth alive. No one of us is living it alive. Your headstone, if there will be any, not everyone is privileged to have an headstone or a headstone over their grave site or their grave or the burial site. If there is ever going to be one, it won't carry your cause of death. It won't even show us or show the world your bank account balance and the banks you had. It will show us the companies you built. It will show us the numbers of houses you built. It won't tell us the degrees and the awards you received, the conferences you attend, the success, the fame you gathered, the social media followers you were able to gather, your Instagram followers. It won't tell us any of these things. It won't even say the places you went for vacation, the places you traveled to, the areas you went and the areas you didn't go to. It won't tell us that. It won't even show whether you wore a designer clothes while you were on earth. It won't show whether you wore Fendi, Gucci, Versace. It won't say any of those things. It didn't even tell us whether you had six packs or whether you had pot belly, whether you had BBL, whether you had side chicks, whether you did liposuction. It won't share any of those things. It won't tell whether you did surgeries, whether it won't show the names of your friends and enemies. It will only show your name and date you lived. So that brings us to mind what Moses prayed in Psalm 90 verse 12. He said, "Teach us to number our days so that we may apply our hearts unto wisdom." Teach us to number our days so that we may apply our hearts unto wisdom. Teach us to number our days so that we may cultivate and bring to you a heart of wisdom. If everyone had a reality check on how many days, if we all had on us a meter that reads how many days we had left to live, we would do things differently. We would all do things differently. If every one of us had a meter on our forehead that could tell us, just the same way we could go for, we could check our blood pressure. If we could have something to tell us how long we have left to live, it will make us do things differently. Have you seen a man that is on a terminal sickness or on his sick bed or deathbed and he knows how many days left for him to live? The doctor have told him you have 3 months to live. He will do things differently. Dear friends, you don't need all that to know that you should live every day for God. Bible speaking, in Moses prayed that profound prayer so that we should live purposeful towards God. In Ephesians 5 verse 16, the Bible said, redeeming the times because the days are evil, whereby be ye not unwise, but understanding what the will of the Lord is. What is the will of God concerning your life? Have you found out your purpose? Are you busy with it? Yesterday we talked about excuse. Are you busy with it, or you are going to go before God on that day and you're going to be telling God the excuses why you could not do what He had asked you to do? We would stand before Him and He would not ask us, how many of those cars you got? How many of those houses did you build? How many of those degrees you got? How many of those awards you got? How many of the recognitions you got? How many of the Instagram followers you got? Since we are living in a generation where everything we want to do is to get likes and views, you're going to get a good phone so that you could get good pictures, so that you could snap. You're going to go to places that are fine so that you could snap pictures. You would not snap in any way that is not fine. You want to snap, you want to get validation. God wouldn't ask you, how did that validation go? How did it go? He wouldn't ask you, oh, you're so busy with this. The world knew you. This company is. He wouldn't ask you all of these monies you gathered. One thing that would matter is the work I sent you to do. Did you do them? Because there are only going to be two things we'll be hearing on that day. Well done, my beloved son, in whom am I pleased. Come to the right hand side, or come to the joy of the Father. Or that slothful servant. Do you know how often the Lord refers to people as servants? Because we are servants of God. Once we became born again, we became servants of God. And we are to serve a purpose. Servant means serving a purpose, serving at the pleasure of your master. Your life that you live today, is it at the pleasure of God? Does it give God glory? Does it give God pleasure? Does it give God praise? Do men see your good works and give God glory? What will be at the end of it all? After all the money we acquire, after all of the fame, I want to be a very renowned pastor. After all the healings and everything, if you do them out of the will of God, out of the confines of God, those works are dead. There's something called dead works. Works you do outside Christ. Works you do for your philanthropic work outside Christ. It won't amount to anything. You build churches everywhere. If it is outside the will of God, it won't amount to anything. That's why the Bible said, understand that we should not be unwise, but understanding what the will of God is. It may be right in your eyes. You may think it's pleasing unto God. But is that what He asked you to do? Is that what He had sent you to do? Is that the will of God for you at that time? Is that what God wanted you to do? That is what matters. It's not your ambitions that you projected into the things you think God wanted to do. What did He ask you to do? John was in the wilderness, shouting and crying. Make part the ways of the Lord, repent. And John didn't think that it was wise for him to come to the city to make a name for himself. God positioned him at the wilderness to preach. As a minister of God, where are you? The place you are right now, is that where God wanted it to be? Because at the end of it all, whatever you do outside the will of Christ will amount to nothing. The Bible spoke of works, and our works will be tested by fire. He said many works will become burnt, but will be saved. What kind of works are you going to do? I'm going to be dwelling more on that tomorrow. What is the nature of your work? What are you doing? What are you doing for God right now? What are you doing for God right now? Are you chasing what the world are chasing? Validation, the fame, the loss of this world? All of these things that will be born away. The Bible says the loss of this world is fading away, shall pass away. All of these things that will fade away is what you are investing your time, your money, your resources. Is what is giving you sleepless nights. Is what is making you pray to God. God, do this for me. Is what is making you sow seeds. Is what is making you pray, fasting, because you want these things that the world crave for. What is the manner of life? What is your worth of your life? I must teach us to number our days so that we may apply hearts unto wisdom. It is appointed unto man to die once, and after that judgment. What will you be judged for? What will be your reward? Say, I come quickly, and my reward is given to give to every man according to his works. What will be your reward when your works are put under fire? What will be your rewards? Will you tell God that, the wife you gave me was not supportive, so I couldn't do what you asked me to do? The husband you gave me was not supportive. I thought he was a Christian. He didn't allow me to do what I should have done for you. Many people got married and they left their duty posts in their local churches. They stopped going to choir rehearsal. They stopped doing ushering. They stopped doing anything. They said, my husband would not allow me to come to church early. Excuses upon excuses upon excuses. Adam gave a very best excuse, a wonderful excuse. It was not accepted. Saul gave his own excuse. He didn't accept it. This is the same God. He has not changed. What excuse will you present that day when He will come with His reward in His hand according to your works? Are you going to be proud of your reward? That's why I asked the question at the beginning. If we could see how many days we have left on earth, what would you do differently? Start now. Start now, dear friends. Start now. Start now. Abraham started fulfilling God's will for his life. At the age of 70, God called him. What would you do differently? It's not too late to start now. It will be better you die while walking on the paths that God have called you to, no matter how late it is, than for you to not realize or even know the path God have called you to, and you just live a fruitless life. You live the life that is designed by your parents, a life that that our social standard have defined for you. Get car, get a house, get married, get children, have money, and be successful. According to the social standard of life, is that what you are living for? According to what men expect of you, is that what you are living for? According to what your boss expects of you, is that what you are living for? Is that what your life matters? Is that what your life counts for? Bible says, teach us to number our days, so that we may apply heart unto wisdom, so that we can understand how brief it is, so that we can understand what really matters. I hope you've been edified. Thank you for listening. God bless you. See you again tomorrow. Bye.
We trust you've been blessed by today's devotional. We would love you to be part of our virtual family on WhatsApp. Send us a message on +234 701 398 5704. You can access the audio and other edifying messages on our Telegram channel at House of Shekinah, or subscribe to our YouTube channel at House of Shekinah, or follow us on Facebook and Instagram at House of Shekinah. Remain edified.